Do you ever wonder about what is the most effective way of getting better at riding a trials bike? Hi everyone, I'm Rich from RPM Displays and I've been a professional trials rider for about 17 years now. I've also ridden a trials bike for about 25 years and I've got pretty good at it. I, on the other hand, have never really spent any time training or going to the gym until the last 3 years to try and see if I can use resistance training in order to help me get better at riding my bike. Now, as I say, I have been to the gym in the last couple of years, but I've not really known what it is that I'm doing or what's the most effective thing, and trials is pretty niche when it comes to the kind of movements and the kind of power that you want to isolate getting. So, earlier this year, my wonderful partner Lucy, for my birthday, got me a personal training session, and I corresponded with the trainer, who's a lovely lady called Tegan, who was interested to know what it was that I did and what it was that I wanted to get better at. So I sent her a couple of my videos, she had a look and she was like, great, I can see exactly what it is that you need. So in this first part of the video, we're going to go to the gym project. This is way back in February we did this, and you're going to see some of the stuff that Tegan put me through. She did a really intensive bit of training with squats to get the form right and everything else. And then following that, we did, I think what was called an EMOM, which is every minute on the minute. It was like a boot camp kind of exercise thing, which absolutely thrashed me, but was still really good. And then after that, I'm going to move forwards a couple of weeks and going to show you how I felt the effect of that training whilst riding a trials bike, and then we're going to go forward a couple of months until almost the present day, and we're going to see how that consistent training over that time has hopefully affected how I ride on a trials bike. If you haven't already, please do go and subscribe, and let's get down to the gym project and see what it was like training with Tegan.
If obviously you are kind of at a professional level in a sport, doing the right stuff in the gym is so important. In your sport you need to be plyometric, you need to be explosive. You need to essentially be building your fast twitch muscle fibres. Yeah. We'll do 5 rounds of that, and then what we're going to do after that is an explosive power-based EMOM. So EMOM stands for every minute on the minute. Right. So every minute you have to do a certain number of reps of a certain exercise. They're all plyometric full body exercises. Cool. Just to get you moving in different ways. Rotation is obviously really important in what you do as well. Yes. So we're going to get you pushing, we're going to get you pulling, we're going to get you rotating. Yeah. We're going to get you sprinting. Yeah. Cool. See how you find it. As you warm up, do you do any mobility? No. Okay. So start with your feet wide, hands on the floor behind you, and really, really reach with the fingers to the ceiling. Tall plank position. Just going to push your hips up to the ceiling. Good. Keep it nice and slow and steady.
I also can't count, so this might be 10.
That's number 9. If there's one thing that I'm really good at, it's counting people's reps. Into your hands, so roll yourself up to standing. I'm then going to sit myself onto the box. From there, I'm going to drive my feet into the floor, hold the breath at the bottom, take a 2-second pause, drive straight up, nice and strong. Back. Yeah, nice. Keeping that breath in tight at the bottom. 1, 2, and up. Good. Walking into the rack.
Considering my job, I have terrible balance, so it's a strange one. But, like 3 or 4?
3 or 4. Yeah. Perfect.
This is going to hurt, but a good hurt, I hope.
Then I'm also just going to grab some clips, safety first. Yeah. Controlled on the way down. Yeah. Tight in the pause, and then fast but tight on the way back up. Okay. Cool. Smooth and controlled down. Sit right back onto the box. 2, and then drive up. Good. That up for round 2. Yeah. I wouldn't increase the weight if they were looking wobbly or if your form wasn't looking good, but they're looking really tight, they're looking nice and controlled. The aim of all of this stuff is you don't want to be working at a maximum weight, but you do, for it to be effective, you do want to be working pretty heavy.
Closer to like 50, 60 kilos on this. Like.
What, extra?
No, like in total.
Oh, that's already at 80. That was 60, the set that you just did.
You know what I said about not being able to count? It's maybe something. Let's do this.
Have you been squatting heavier
160,
than you
I don't know.
think you have?
Yeah. Oh, that's heavy.
Okay, so important here, just really, really tight core. Big breath in. Sit yourself down. 1, 2, drive it up. Good.
Wow.
Did you breathe out at the bottom?
Yes.
Don't breathe out at the bottom. 1, 2, drive it up. There we go, nice. Tight core, hold your breath. 1, 2, drive. Good. Good. Where would you say that was out of 10?
7 or 8.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't have the pop that I had with like.
So I think that we
40.
probably won't increase weight on that. That's probably the right weight to be doing working sets of 5 at. Dip to one side and then punch away from you as hard as you can. Nice work, you're done. I'll leave you to have a quick drink and get your breath back.
I'm trying hard not to be dramatic, but yeah, I don't think I'd ever be that exerted in a day of work. Like,
It's just different. It's a completely different style of training to what you normally do. If you put me on a bike for half an hour, I'd be completely because I don't go on bikes. So your body's just not used to it. It's just that complete kind of outside of comfort zone type training.
I mean, considering like we did like 20 minutes of basic warm-ups and just trying other stuff, and then the really hard stuff, that's taken what, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, but that, you know, that is all you need when you're doing it to that intensity. And if you're doing it right, that is all you need. But if you're going at that kind of intensity, you should feel pretty knackered after 10 minutes.
I do, yeah.
Switch sides when you're ready. Then just walk over to one foot and change sides.
Guys, we just did a really intensive, for me, kind of workout with Tegan here at the Gym Project. It's all designed and helping me to get a little bit better at riding trials and stuff. So yeah, thank you very, very much for doing this. Have you got like social media and stuff?
Yes.
Cool. I will get them off you later and put them all down there so that you can see. Please go and follow Tegan. And yeah, thank you very much. Right, that'll do. Nice one. So it's been a couple of weeks now since I had that private training session with Tegan, and I have been going back to the gym. I've been trying to use some of the stuff that she's told me about, particularly like upping the weights with squat and fairly comfortably doing like 4 sets of 6 reps of those, and that's been okay. Also warming up and warming down, stretching and everything, and stretching whilst I'm riding the bike. And this is like the first proper ride I've had out since then, because it's just been raining and everything since. So yeah, let's see if I can notice any real difference. Well, I can definitely say, having like only just had a few hops on something here, just a bit higher than bar height, I mean, I feel springy. There's no question about that. I'm kind of like, how much difference can I really expect to notice after having done training for only like a couple of weeks? But I mean, I do feel like I can jump higher and I feel a bit more consistent. So, I mean, and you know, getting some of those ones, those are some of the biggest up to fronts I've done. And that feels really nice. And I've played with the setup of the bike recently and made it a bit nicer and stuff, but still, it genuinely, especially like warming up my like calf muscles and stuff, I do feel a bit better. Yeah, let's go ride somewhere I'm a bit more familiar with, which is probably going to be Cligger. And yeah, we'll see how I feel up there. So for anyone that's been following the channel, you'll know that the bike that I'm riding there is the Kruker's short bike, which I stopped riding several months ago now, and I've moved back to riding on the clean. But that still gives you an idea of what it was like only after a couple of weeks. And I think it was fair for me to say that, you know, I couldn't really expect to see much of a difference in a couple of weeks, but I felt like I did. And I think the positive attitude that I took into those first few hops was kind of important. But the real change I saw was at this ride. So we went to Cliggerhead a couple of months ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, I think, from now. And I had been training. I've been really consistent with my training. I've been going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week. I hadn't been doing everything that Tegan had suggested I'd been doing. And I will also take this opportunity to say, please don't just watch this video and try and recreate what Tegan was showing me. I'm not going to present her whole training program here to you for free, but she does do coaching all over the country with people via online stuff, and she does some stuff in person as well. So if you want to learn about some of the stuff that Tegan helped me out with, her contact details and her social media are going to be in the video and in the description below, so you can go and find out about that. But I wasn't doing everything exactly the same, because the gym I went to is actually different from the one that we were training at, and so I didn't have access to all the free weights and the sled and everything else. But squats were kind of the most important things for me, and that's what I've been really focusing on and getting my form better at, and that's where I've seen the dramatic kind of improvements, like in this ride where we went to Cliggerhead. So I mean, some of the stuff, like, I'll talk through some of this as we go, but this first one here, the plinth right at the top, now I've side hopped this a bunch of times. You can't quite see, but there's actually a gap just between where my front wheel is and where the actual wall is that I'm trying to get up. Now I've side hopped it to 2 wheels a couple of times. I've tried it years ago trying to go up to back wheel, which is harder because rather than going up and going flat, you're actually having to push your body up further. And I've never done it to back wheel, but it took me literally a couple of tries and I made it pretty much straight up to back. I think it took me 4 or 5 tries maybe, and it was more just getting the hang of the feel for it. But you can see the compression that I was able to get out of my legs and the spring is a pretty remarkable change. And I honestly, even if it is psychological, even if it is a placebo effect in my head that I think I've been training harder, therefore I can jump higher, it's worked. You can see when I was riding the Krukers, it was like, yeah, I could do that stuff, but I've never done that before. And a bunch of other things where there were things that I've never really succeeded on before, like this side hop here onto the big block. Now I've done this before a bunch of times. I did it about 6 years ago, but I've never done it as easily as I just did it there. That was literally the easiest I've ever gone up it. And in comparison as well, going up the other side of it, I've never managed to get up that other side of it. I've never even tried because it just looked too big. It's hard to tell in the video, but there's maybe an inch or two's difference in it. And it is a bit of an awkward thing to get up and over, but I did manage to do it. So with kind of static, just power moves and stuff, the difference was really, really noticeable after a couple of months of training. I mean, literally at Christmas time, trying to get up that block, I could barely side hop it. I really struggled to side hop it, but actually having spent this time doing loads of the stuff and thinking about what Tegan said about how to get that form really nice and to focus on those fast twitch muscles, it's just been so helpful in terms of getting up and over this kind of stuff. But also just the stuff which involves not so much just static jumping, but pedaling into something like this up to front here, where I've literally rolled up and gone up to front on this block. Again, I've done it before, but I've never done it as easily as I did here, which is what was really helpful for me in terms of, I feel like the coordination is quicker because my muscles are responding faster. This is what it feels like. I don't know. Tegan's probably watching this video and going, what is this guy talking about? But from my perspective, it feels like my muscles are responding and reacting faster. And usually these pedal up to front, where you haven't got much time, you have to think quite quickly. Usually that's where my body messes up, because it feels like my body can't keep up with what my brain is asking it to do. Now I feel like my body is working much quicker and going up it in a much more coordinated fashion. So yeah, really, really happy with that. Even, I mean, this was a line I didn't actually make, but one bounce and almost going up onto this. Again, this is a combination of things where I've got to move fast and use momentum, but also have the sort of the quick response of my muscles to get up something, because I've noticed this in the last couple of years. I've just felt so sluggish. I'm 37 now, and age is just a thing. It's just happening. I'm slowing down a bit, but this feels like it's actually, like, doing this training feels like it's actually giving me a bit of youth back, of that springiness that I used to have as like a younger man, which is really good. And then moving on to like this gap here. Now, I've done this gap a bunch of times up to front, as you can see me doing it up to front here. That's all well and good. I've never done it up to back. I've never seen anyone else do it up to back, and I've never tried it. But again, just got on the back wheel, I looked at it and I thought, I think that's on. And it took me, I think, 1 or maybe 2 tries, and then just bang, straight up to the back wheel. Felt really, really good. And again, that's all of those joints in my leg, my ankles, my knees, my hips, everything has just been working harder. And I even managed to go down, turn around and come back up, because I felt like I just had more energy. It didn't take that much out of me to jump that far. So I feel like that's a pretty conclusive piece of evidence that progressive and intelligent training has really helped me to be a better trials rider. And I don't know if I could have done this stuff before. Maybe I could have done it and I was just holding back or something, but it definitely feels easier. And in some of the other videos that you might have seen where I was doing bigger gap jumps and stuff, again, I've done those gaps before, but it just feels easier. So I, for one, am really excited about having discovered this new kind of form of training. It annoys me no end that I wasn't doing this 20 years ago. When, you know, people that I used to ride with, like Andre Burton, have been going to the gym all the time, and I see guys now like Charlie Rolls and Jack Carthy, they obviously incorporate things like this and other forms of training into their training regime. So for me, it's to answer the question that I kind of posed at the start of this video. I think resistance training is incredibly important and a really good way of helping to make me a better trials rider. I have to put a massive disclaimer on this, that obviously any kind of sports, resistance training, gym training, anything like that is going to come with its inherent dangers, and you shouldn't try it alone. I can definitely endorse the idea of getting a good personal trainer. There's a whole bunch of them out there. If you go down to your local gym, they should be able to point you in the direction of someone. If you'd like to try Tegan out, I know that she does stuff online, so you can go and ask her as well. And I think what I'm going to actually do myself is see if I can find someone else, because Tegan was amazing, but she didn't know, by her own admission, much about riding bikes. So I might actually see if there's someone else who is both a personal trainer and a trials rider, and see if they can help me a bit as well, and see if there's any other tricks that we're missing out on. But yeah, again, if you are going to embark on this kind of journey, doing training, weights, stuff like that, please do it carefully. It's so easy to injure and hurt yourself by going too hard and too quick. And also, I want to use this opportunity to shout out Water Ox Acupuncture, which is my really good friend Ciaran, who's been helping. He's basically sponsoring me. He's been giving me free treatments for ages to keep my body in the kind of form that I need it in to be able to go out and do shows and to do all the driving I need to get to shows and everything else, really. So if you are going to go and try this, absolutely do go and do it. It's helped me loads. I can't guarantee it'll work the same for you, but I mean, you know, it feels like it could do. Be careful, go out there and have some fun, and if you haven't already, please do go and subscribe. Please also go and follow Tegan on her social media and the Gym Project. They were really nice to let us film in there as well, and I will see you guys all next week for whatever we've got then. Alright, thanks very much, cheers now, bye bye. Monetize it, do videos and stuff like that, people find that. Yeah, yeah.